What a beautiful day, right? Oh, wait, what's that?
Capturing the moment part of a chocolate factory exploded. Take a look at this.
The sheer power of industrial equipment and heavy machinery always scares me. Massive, relentless, and unforgiving. There's no other way to describe them. But what happens when such machinery meets human errors? Well, let's have a look at some moments showing just that. Number 44. Plant explosion caught on camera. Here's why you need to wear all your safety gear at the plant. This happened at a cosmetics plant in New York's Hudson Valley in November of 2017. You can see the worker going about his job before everything in sight just erupts into flames. At first, it seems like he's been knocked out cold because of the explosion, but you can see him run to safety. But what even happened here? Well, inside the vessel was a flammable liquid, and while the worker was cleaning up the top, a bit of static led to a spark, igniting everything inside the vessel. The accident was eventually deemed as an accident, but you're going to see such shocking mistakes in this video that shouldn't even count as mistakes. Number 43. Massive accident at Kaohsiung Port. This is probably one of the craziest port accidents I've ever seen. You can see the massive cargo ship grind up against another docked ship, all while striking the crane from the top. It dominoes after that as both cranes go down one by one. And it doesn't end there. You can even see several containers go flying in all directions as they slam the ground hard. And you could argue that the cranes shouldn't be lowered when a ship is docking, but what about the other ship? The captain sailed straight into it. Even if it avoided the cranes, it probably did enough damage to cost the company millions. Number 42. Container falls off ship. It's almost like the operator is playing real-life Tetris here. And in case you were wondering why some of your packages take so much time, this is it. But that was way too close for comfort. It initially doesn't seem it'll fall this close to the person recording the clip. Also, what's with the crazy laugh at the end? Either that container was empty, or it happens there all the time. Number 41. Bulldozer. Loading fail. Rookie mistake, son. You never try to load something on a truck on an uneven surface, especially when it's a massive bulldozer. You get what you deserve, and this is a mistake that could have easily been avoided. Number 40. Excavator falls off mountain. I have no idea what the objective was here, and I don't want to know either. Is this how they get the boss to buy a new excavator? And thank God it was remote operated. That is one of the ugliest crashes I've ever seen. Number 39. Mine collapse. This might just be one of the deadliest mine collapses of all time. It happened in China's Inner Mongolia region, as entire fleets of trucks and machinery were buried underneath 80-meter-high debris. And trust me, if you knew the true size of those trucks, you'd know how big of a slide that was. Plus, just imagine being a worker in that mine. Absolutely horrifying. A lot of people lost their lives, and several miners were trapped underneath for several days as a search operation tried to rescue them. This clip pretty much sums up everything that can go wrong while working inside a mine. Number 38. Windmill gets obliterated. That must have been one bad storm. But the funny thing about it is that this windmill was probably the most efficient in the world for a couple of seconds before it shattered into pieces. Number 37. The whole drill goes down. This was clearly an operator error. It wasn't even the pipe that went down this time around. It was the whole damn top drive. Probably a brake failure, I imagine. Thankfully, there were no casualties, but a mass firing was definitely in the books. Not to mention the damage done to the drilling site. Number 36. Drilling rig accident. This has to be the most common type of accident on an oil rig. It's going to be a while before they start drilling again, because that pipe just went around 2 miles deep in the well. But to be fair, it could have easily been avoided provided everyone was doing their jobs. Everyone's just standing around watching the guy without pitching in. But the walk of shame at the end is priceless. You can tell they all know they're about to get fired. Number 35, anchor takes out ship. What's the scariest thing on board a large industrial ship? Any guesses? It's the anchor, folks. That chain alone probably weighs thousands of kilograms, and standing near it can be your worst and last mistake ever. But if it is not dropped correctly, it can take out an entire ship. Like in this clip here. You can see the chain drop uncontrolled, leading to an actual fire. I'm not sure what went wrong here, but I'm guessing they miscalculated the depth since it just dropped into the ocean. The captain's gonna have a hard time stopping now. Number 34, stadium collapse. You're gonna have to look closely for this one. See that worker cutting through the support? Well, he's about to bring down the whole house. Was that supposed to happen? The stadium roof looks pretty old, but it was completely intact. And even if they were trying to bring it down, whatever happened to safety? The worker wasn't even strapped to anything. You can literally see him disappear in the rubble as everything goes down with him. And now for the crazy bit, did you know he actually survived the disaster? That's what I call a miracle. Number 33, near miss. It's a bird, a plane. Nope, it's a whole damn engine. And you can see the shadow of it looming over the worker as well. That must have been such a scary feeling. And from the looks of it, that thing must weigh several tons. I really wish we had a different angle for it as well. But either way, I'm sure someone's gonna be in a lot of trouble. Also, a question for any experts watching this video: who covers the losses in this situation? Number 32, awkward position. Do you even physics, bro? Again, nothing out of the ordinary considering this happens all the time. But someone clearly didn't do their homework here, because if they did, this wouldn't have happened. The bulldozer is being lowered into what seems to be a ditch. Probably some sewerage work going on, I suppose. But wait, won't that crane tip over? Yes, it will. I knew this was going to happen, and I'm sure you did too. It's funny how everyone scrambles after seeing the crane nearly go down. What an awkward position to end up in, though. I wonder what the operator was going through. Number 31, dump truck accident. Something tells me this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Quick, flip it back over before the boss sees it. And I swear, if you didn't see the dump trump tip over, it would almost seem as if this is some sort of fight between the two bulldozers. It's not exactly that serious of an accident, but it's cool how something that would frighten is a regular occurrence on the job site. Here's an interesting fact though. Almost every driver who's operated a similar dump truck has tipped it before. Number 30, massive container, crane goes down. What a beautiful day, right? Oh wait, what's that? This dramatic accident happened in Taiwan, and while it seems absolutely devastating, there were no casualties or damage either. The only thing destroyed was the crane itself. And I know these are massive structures, but isn't it crazy how they're so flimsy when they collapse? Number 29, 70-ton plane. Not a lot to explain here, just a crane failing at lifting a 70-ton plane. The backstory must be epic. Number 28, huge collapse. I said this before and I'll say it again. If we can see the mistakes, why can't these so-called experts spot it? I mean, who in their right mind would approve of this plan? 2 massive cranes on a floating block in the canal? And look at the tiny buggy ships. That's what's preventing the block from moving around. This was going to happen from the very get-go. And unlike the other crane collapse, this one did some serious damage, completely destroying 26 houses and injuring around 20 people. I wouldn't even call this a mistake though. This was pure stupidity. Number 27, overhead crane fail. Trust me, out of all the mistakes we've seen so far, this is going to be the most out of pocket. Now, overhead cranes are typically very safe. In fact, They're much safer than conventional cranes because you don't need any counterforce. But there's always that one guy, if you know what I mean. Look at this fool thinking he's in some Fast and Furious film. He drives the forklift straight into the hook, bringing down the entire crane with it. Termination? Lawsuit? I wonder what happened to this careless operator. Number 26. Crane accident sinks boat. Buddy, I think you should move. And I know everything seems to be going according to plan right now. But it seems to me that someone forgot to account for the center of gravity when that container is lowered. And there you go. That's going to cost a lot since you're paying for the boat, crane, and container. Also, look at the dude who just stands there with his hands out as if he's going to catch the machine or something. Just move, bro. Number 25, 33 kilovolt blast. This is going to be bad. In fact, you know it's always going to be bad when there's electricity involved. And this isn't an ordinary transformer or anything either. It's 33 kilovolts, and those things pack a serious punch. Anyway, you can see things go south as soon as the electrician tries to restart the system. On a side note, wasn't that sound just glorious? Number 24, factory explosion. You can't really see why this happened, but look at what happened. That was big, almost like a bomb. Now do you get why heavy industrial machinery is so dangerous? It was a particularly tragic event since there were some fatalities with several people injured as well. The explosion happened in a chocolate factory in Pennsylvania. Number 23, arc flash. We'll talk about what happened later. Just check out the footage first. Damn, that was super close. And did you see the arc flash? For those of you who don't know, an arc flash is one of the deadliest things ever when it comes to working with generators. It's a type of electrical explosion that produces both heat and light. And the worst part is how it can travel in the air. But I really like how this guy kept his cool and made sure everything was switched off before running to a safe distance. Was it the best move? Not at all. But I'm glad he's okay. Number 22, time bombs. It was just a matter of time, stacking thousands of gas cylinders together under one roof. This was bound to happen. All it needed was one tiny switch. But do you realize how it's like a domino effect? Each blast leads to another blast, leading to, you guessed it, another blast. And I seriously applaud the workers who are extinguishing the fire while standing right beside more cylinders. You can't get any smarter than that. Number 21, horror crane collapse. Just from the quality of this footage alone, you know something bad is about to happen. And I have so many questions. Was safety not a thing back in 2015? No hard hats, no spotters. All these people standing underneath a crane while it lifts up tons of metal in the air. Not to mention how everyone's back is turned to the crane. This is probably an educational video of what not to do at a construction site. And like I mentioned before, I'm no expert, but even I can tell the angle and weight of this lift is all wrong. I hope there was some serious investigation into this horror collapse. Number 20, insane misroll. I'm kind of obsessed with these. Check this one out, that is fast. And I wish we got to see the other side as well. There was probably some crazy metallic abstract art wherever this cobble landed. Also, what's up with the guy on top? He's walking around like it's another day at the office. Number 19, another cobble. It's like the lasso of truth, but whatever you do, don't grab it. Because even though it looks like a rope, just this cobble alone probably weighs more than a car and is hotter than hell itself. Glad no one was around while this happened. Number 18, steel coil crushes truck. Just another normal day in Vietnam. Traffic is rolling. It seems like a nice cool day, before we see a truck roll up with several steel coils secured to its bed. Or, hold up, are they even secured? I guess not. But considering how that coil turned that truck into powder, I can't even imagine what would have happened if it gained more speed. Just imagine a steel coil weighing several tons rolling down the street. Sounds like something out of a Final Destination film. Number 17, massive miss roll. As scary as this is, I have to admit, it's kinda mesmerizing to watch. That's literally a string of hot metal floating in the air. It could pretty much burn anything in its path. But I do have a question though. Isn't it strange how there was someone present to record the most perfect video ever? It's almost as if they knew this was going to happen. I'm guessing someone knew the machine was faulty and wanted to capture it and shoot out this crazy hell string. Number 16, beam installation fail. I'm no expert, but is this how it's usually done? All you need are 2 workers to install a super heavy beam made out of solid steel. Are you kidding me? And just watch what happens next. The workers are unable to balance the beam. It starts out of control before coming down hard, narrowly avoiding the worker who fell with it. Yikes. This could have been horrifying. That guy would have turned into mush. Number 15, tree removal gone wrong. This was supposed to be a simple job. All you had to do was remove the damn tree. But nope. This operator had to create an entire scene, nearly totaling the crane in the process. I'm guessing the tree was heavier than anticipated, but what's with all the workers? Why did they start running after the tree fell? That's hilarious. But yeah, this could have ended much worse. Number 14, fail or calculated. I saw this coming from a mile away. How could that operator not have known this was going to happen? Everything about it from the very first second had failure written all over it. And even though it doesn't exactly look like a high-stakes situation, it could have been a terrible accident if a pallet had fallen on the operator. But hold up. I know this isn't what this video is about, but was this calculated? Maybe there was no way to salvage the pallets and they had to bring it down with a controlled fall. Number 13, helicopter fail. Who comes up with this stuff? That helicopter probably weighs several tons. How are 2 tiny dinkies going to pull it up a ramp? I mean, how can you not expect something like this to happen? And I love how some of the staff ran after it as if they were going to magically stop it or something. Like, okay, Iron Man, chill out. But speaking of expensive fails, this has to be high up on the list, considering that the machine costs around $40 million. Number 12, horror crane wreck. Look at this thing. It's gigantic. It's an offshore Liebherr crane, or was. From the looks of it, it probably underwent some serious tension before snapping in half because of a faulty hook. And I'm just wondering how you'd go about repairing or taking apart something like that. The repair must take months or perhaps even a year. And any guesses how much the damages must be worth? Well, according to an investigation, it's going to cost anywhere from 50 to 100 million euros to clean this mess up. But did you really think I was going to leave you hanging like that? It's not the most perfect angle, but you can still see the moment that led to this massive accident. And if you want to get a bit more technical, the crane wasn't exactly faulty or anything. It was a 5,000-ton test, and the crane broke at 2,500 tons because of a weak hook and counterweight. Number 11, most expensive leak ever. I'm sure we've all experienced some sort of a leak in our life. Whether it was an annoying tap, a broken styrofoam cup, or a torn plastic bag. But this has to be the most expensive leak ever. This furnace is literally leaking metal right now. All the bright leakage you see is turning into hard chunks of metal as soon as it starts to melt. Just imagine how expensive the cleanup is going to be. Another wet charge. Number 10, heavy haulage gone wrong. Would you look at that? A huge truck carrying what appears to be another huge machine. I think we can all imagine how this is going to end. This is what happens when you don't think things through, folks. Whoever came up with this brilliant plan deserves a raise. And look at that worker running beside the truck. What in the world are you possibly going to do now, bud? There's no stopping the chaos. But do you guys think they could have potentially avoided this disaster had the driver not locked the brakes? Number 9, the floor is lava. Remember that game we all used to play when we were younger? We'd pretend like the floor is lava and do everything to avoid touching it. Well, this is the adult version of that game, where the floor is lava. Literally. I'm guessing it probably happened after the operator forgot to lift up this giant bucket of hot burning juice. Also, if you're ever having a bad day at work, I'd suggest you watch this clip every now and then. I'm sure whatever you're going through isn't as bad as this. On a side note, it looks pretty cool though. Number 8. Furnace spits out molten metal. There's no denying forklift operators are the backbone of society. But with great responsibility comes great power. And unfortunately for this operator, he done messed up big time. Just watch that furnace spit back molten metal right in his direction. I'm amazed how he's still operating the forklift. Either it had a safety glass or this guy was wearing all the right gear that day. But that was absolutely terrifying to watch. An investigation was launched into the freak accident shortly after, and it was discovered it happened because of wet scrap. Metrodome Stadium Clash. In December 2010, the Metrodome Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, experienced a significant structural failure when its inflatable roof collapsed. This collapse happened under the weight of heavy snowfall. The Metrodome's roof was designed as a Teflon-coated fiberglass fabric held up by air pressure. However, a severe winter storm deposited a substantial amount of snow onto the roof, exceeding its load-bearing capacity. The accumulation caused tears in the fabric, leading to a dramatic collapse captured on video. But the collapse forced the Minnesota Vikings football team to relocate their scheduled home game. Washington State Bridge Collapse. This incident occurred on May 23, 2013. It all happened when a section of the bridge fell down, sending vehicles and people into the river below. The collapse was triggered when a semi-truck with an oversized load struck critical overhead support beams. This compromised the bridge's structural integrity. Amazingly, there were no fatalities, and all individuals involved were rescued with minor injuries. But the event was still a warning for aging infrastructure. In response, a temporary span was installed, and plans for a permanent replacement were rushed to restore this vital transportation link. I-40 Bridge Collapse. On May 26, 2002, a catastrophic accident occurred when a barge struck a support beam of the I-40 bridge over the Arkansas River near Webbers Falls, Oklahoma. This impact caused a 580-foot section of the bridge to collapse. This also pushed multiple vehicles to dive into the river. 14 people lost their lives. The investigation revealed that the bridge lacked redundancy in its design. This meant that it was highly vulnerable to such impacts. This tragedy led to increased scrutiny of bridge designs and inspection protocols to mitigate the risk of similar disasters in the future. Highway collapse in Philadelphia. In June 2023, an elevated part of Interstate 95 collapsed, and this one wasn't exactly a mistake in construction, but instead, it had a lot to do with the material used. Apparently, a big vehicle had caught fire under the section, and this fire further escalated the situation. Thankfully, no one was injured or killed in the incident, but still, a lot of investigation was definitely needed. Hotel New World Collapse. On March 15, 1986, the Hotel New World in Singapore tragically collapsed. It killed 33 people and injured about 70 people. The building was a 6-story structure that had been poorly constructed and was experiencing significant structural weaknesses. Investigations revealed that the collapse was caused by the failure of key load-bearing columns, which had been poorly designed and constructed. The building's foundation was also found to be inadequate for its weight, and there were serious deficiencies in the construction materials and techniques used. Number 1. CNC machine blows up. I bet the boys over at OSHA are losing their minds right now. It's astonishing how there's not a single helmet or pair of safety glasses in sight. But what could possibly go wrong? It's just 2 rows of massive CNC machines, right? Well, check this. Some error causes the machine to blow up, sending out a solid chunk of plastic at a worker. I'm not going to lie, he's lucky to be alive. That was a super close call. Anyway, that's it from our side, folks. So, what do you think? Were you blown away seeing these incredibly dangerous accidents? And have you ever witnessed or been involved in a deadly accident? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.